Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another episode of Murrah's Motors. Today we're going to be doing all of the kind of maintenance and service on my 2001 Explorer 250. That being changing the transmission fluid, the front diff fluid, the hub fluid, and greasing up all of our grease points. Let's get to it. So I'm going to have to pull, in a minute, this heat shield plastic off to get to our transmission fill plug, which is that plug right there. But we will crack that open before we crack our drain open, just so we get proper flow and get the sizes for that. We're going to do our hubs, and we are going to do our front diff. So for fluid, for your hubs, you always need to use the demand drive Polaris fluid. They may recommend a certain type of fluid that has to go in there, but I think that's more for the diffs or the transmission if you're going to use. There's like one other thing you may be able to use, but I believe the hubs, you're always supposed to use their demand drive. For their transmissions, Polaris AGL. Turn it the right way here. There's a couple different types of transmissions. I think they all take AGL, but I always double check that with your book, or you can usually Google it. For the front diff, I don't remember what exactly it called for. I couldn't find whatever it was, so I'm pretty sure it was basically just 80-90 gear oil. It's been a while since I looked. I've had this sitting around for a while before I've actually done all this, but so that's what we're going to use today. First, but we're going to start here. So for this heat shield, if you even have it, there's no telling what screws may be in it. I had the original Phillips screws on this side, but the back two that go in there I didn't have, so I just put M6 bolts in there when I put that back on. So this, let me keep my tripod out of the hole here. This fill plug is a 9/16 head bolt that is on there pretty snug. Oh, there it goes. This is weird given that I've had it off before. I can't remember. I know I checked once. This thing hasn't been driven a whole lot really since I put it back together. I think it had pretty clean looking AGL, but it's definitely over full. So when you fill these, so the top of your oil level needs to be 1 5/8 inches from the top of your fill hole here. So this mark here is the top of our fill hole when you shove this all the way down in there. That little line down there, it touches right on the bottom. It's just barely above it, and that's all there is to it. But we're gonna crawl into there now that it'll vent through here and get that draining real quick. Now if you come under the passenger side of the quad here, there is this skid plate kind of toward the back. You can see your chain and everything right under your transmission. Right here is your drain plug. It is a 3/4 bolt, and it will have a magnet on it. So make sure to clean that magnet off. I'll show you whatever mine looks like when I get it out. When you get it out, when it gets toward dripping toward the end, it absolutely will run toward that skid, into that skid pan, which mine has mud and stuff in it, and so this is definitely just gonna make a goopy mess. What I may actually do is go jack up the other side just a little bit to keep it all flowing straight out of that plug. So we're gonna get this draining. Here's my drain plug here. Put focus. Yeah, it's definitely got some sludge on her, but no pieces of anything. And who knows, it was AGL that came out of this that had been overfilled. Who knows when it was actually changed, but yeah. So make sure you clean that drain plug up. Make sure that your washer on there is good and clean, and make sure that you clean up the sealing surface on the transmission itself. And so we're gonna get all this cleaned up and plug back in, and then we'll go to filling. For this, take our fill plug out. Don't lose, I forgot that was kind of on there, your sealing washer for your fill plug as well. Make sure it stays clean. There's just dirt on the side of it. But to make sure the mating surface stays clean. And I've got a little bit of funnel in here. I don't entirely remember how much AGL this takes. One of these small bottles is more than enough. I'd say probably about 10 ounces, but we will kind of keep track here and see. And I can see some sitting in the bottom now. We'll get down in here. So if you can see right here. All right, there we go. It's kind of gonna be hard to tell now because it's been running, but you can see that there's fluid right at that line. Hit it again just to double check. Perfect. All we gotta do here, our surface, we didn't get, there's a little speck. Didn't get a bunch of dirt on or anything. So we'll tighten that dude back up, and then we're gonna move on to the front diff. All right, we're up here at the front diff, and if you can see, this one's kind of a pain to get to. Right here is gonna be our fill plug. So like I said, we'll crack it loose, and we fill it until the bottom of the fill plug threads is where we fill the front diff to. That is a 9/16 fill plug. And then right there, that little tiny guy right there is a 7/16 drain plug. So just like the other, we're gonna get this draining, clean our magnet off, and then be right back. Once again, a little magnet right there. It shouldn't have near as much metal, I wouldn't think, as your transmission, unless it's been running dry. So wipe that off, tighten it back up. Make sure your sealing washer's in good shape. All right, so we got our fill plug out. Like I said, this was kind of a pain to get into and see. It really doesn't take that much, maybe 4 ounces or so, just kind of my guess. Right now we're about 26 ounces in this bottle, so let's try to get in here and see. You can see we're right at the bottom of those threads. All right, so we put about 3.5 to 4 ounces in there. I double checked, it just said fill to the bottom of fill plug threads. That's what we did. So we come in here, just clean up a little bit so it doesn't look like it's leaking. Wipe off where we got some dirt on the sealing surface. And then we will just put our fill plug back in. There we have it. So next we have our hub fluid. And so what you want to do is here, since some people take this plate off, I kind of just don't feel like it. So I think I'm just going to pull the Allen and roll it over and let it drain out of that. It takes 3/16, I believe, Allen key. I don't have like an Allen socket for it. So it shouldn't be super tight, hopefully. If it is, you may want to make sure it's not rusted up, and you really don't want to strip this dude out. So we're going to break this guy loose. I really wish I had the little socket bit for it. These hubs do not take a lot of fluid at all. Here's our plug. Again, for the focus. It also has a magnet on it. So all we're going to do is Just want to jack this up enough that you can free spin your wheel here. And we're just going to turn it over to 6 o'clock. Well, that's pretty anticlimactic. Maybe just because we'll pull that plate off, but I think these hubs don't have a bit of fluid in them. These take a T25 bit, and this cover has an O-ring in it, so you want to be careful while messing with it. It's been opened before because there's one different screw in here, but just try to carefully wiggle our plug out. Just ever so gently. Maybe try to work a flathead behind it just to kind of get it started. You'll be able to see that O-ring when it starts coming out, so make sure you're not prying on it. I'm trying to just pry on the ears as the bolts go through. Yeah, that's not exactly what I would call ideal to have completely bone dry hubs. Interesting. Well, hopefully yours are not like that. So all we're gonna do, take the cap, make sure your O-ring looks good, isn't dry rotted, isn't busted. I mean, at least it was still moist, you know. We'll line it back up, put it back in. Guess it saves you a step of changing the fluid when there's no fluid to change, huh? Snug it, just working our way around just like anything, and then go back and actually tighten it all. Alright, so what you want to do is take your demand drive hub fluid, and it takes even less than the transmission does, I believe. You're talking a few ounces at best. Use a syringe. Just to make this a bit easier to put in here. Alright, so we got a syringe full here. We're just gonna push that down in there. Now, how you check if it's full, you're supposed to fill it, I think, at technically the 4 o'clock position. But obviously that's not going to work well. So it should start leaking out somewhere between 3 and 4. There might have been just a bit, but especially since it had absolutely no fluid in there, we're going to make sure we get plenty enough fluid in there. Well, I should just call these videos Daily Struggles of the Life of Me with a slight bit of mechanical knowledge. It's about what happens. Alright, so that video cut off. Basically I made a mess, but squeezed a decent bit of fluid in here. So we're going to turn our fill plug. I know it technically should be the other side, it'd be 3 o'clock or whatever, but about 3 o'clock, we're still dry. And if we go down well, I think I see our problem. All of the hub fluid has came out the back of the hub. All right, well, if whatever seals in the back of these hub units was not bad, when you got between 3 and 4 o'clock, somewhere past 3, I think they say 4, but you know, somewhere in between, when it starts leaking out, that's when you know you're full. Tip it back up, put your plug in, and you're good to go. So we're gonna go ahead and do that, but obviously I need to rebuild my hubs. Just snug. There we have it. Now let's go over our grease fittings. Go over grease fittings real quick. I'm not going to grease them all right now. Some of them I have, but I'm kind of in a rush today, per usual. You got one grease fitting there on the upper steering bushing, and then if I can see where it's at, you should have one on your lower bushing here. Maybe my model does not. Typically, around here on your lower bushings, there is a grease fitting, but unless it's in a different location I do not see, mine does not appear to have one. Now, if you're four-wheel drive, especially these Explorers, you're going to have a fitting in your CV shafts. That one's in the middle. Doesn't look to be a 90 degree like they usually are. One on your A-arm right there. This one, again, one on your A-arm, appears to be on the end of the U-joint for some reason. Now mine still has the OE plastic cover covering that shaft, the shaft of the transmission, but if you get down under the quad and come right there, there is your grease fitting for that U-joint, and then your lower ball joints have one right there on the that whole assembly on both sides. You start working your way from the back to your shaft and transmission. You'll have one in that U-joint, and on this slip yoke, or whatever you may want to call it, where's it at? There it is, there's one. I think they only say that one should take 2 or 3 pumps of grease, not pump it till you see it come out. You'll have one on your swing arm on this side, one on your main axle carrier bearing right there, and then the biggest pain to get to is the one on the swing arm on that side. Alright guys, hopefully I can shorten this video up, make it short and sweet. Kind of irritated since I took a bath in transmission fluid and discovered I got to rebuild my hubs now, but that's part of it. So hopefully this helps you out and just makes your routine maintenance go a little bit easier, a little bit quicker. And yeah, thanks for watching. Catch you guys on the next one.